Uh, not much. Well, lots of stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah, same here.
Company I work for got acquired.
Congratulations.
I don't know if that's a congrats moment. I mean, I suppose it's for them, for the company. I mean, but
Did you have stock in the company?
yeah, I have options, but um, the deal, I'll get paid for them, but it's not going to be any sort of life changing amount or anything like that.
You're not going to be making it rain.
No, no, it's not. Nothing like that. Yeah, yeah. In fact, it's kind of depressing because it's like options and stock options are like a kind of like a lottery ticket, you know? Like you got a possible chance for big money if you IPO and like the options go to the moon or something like that. But no, I it's like I got a scratch off and I won like the median prize or something or like the low.
Okay.
It's like okay, it's not. It's nice, Hey, I get a basically like a big bonus, but and I'm not ungrateful. It's just at this point, it's like I don't know if you've ever hit this, but money doesn't motivate me as much. It's like when you're making like let's say $30,000 a year, making $40,000 a year is a big deal. Like
Yeah.
you know, if you make 40,000, making 60,000 is a big deal. Like, but once you start making like you know above six figures or whatever, unless you get another like six figure increase or something like that, it's like money doesn't move the needle very much.
I've heard John Simons as well as some other multimillionaires say that your first million is likely going to be really hard to achieve, but your second million, it doesn't require as much work.
Yeah, and I suppose
So
that's because you've got the resources in which to like not have to grind as much. You can pay people to grind, I suppose.
mm, I, not like I would know, but I would just assume that once you start operating at that basic level, I would assume that the your environment just changes, your ecosystem just changes. There's just more money flowing. There's more relationships that have that capacity to
Oh yeah,
to support your new ecosystem, and things just tend to be easier than it was compared to where you were making 30,000 a year.
yeah,
So I mean, like, yeah, like going from 60,000 to 100,000 to a quarter million. Hopefully, like you would think it would just keep going up, but I don't know. You also attract more problems as you increase your financial weight, right?
I don't know that that's true. I mean, you
More
might.
money, more things to maintain,
Well, that's if you spend it
more
or
people on your
how
payroll
you spend
to
it.
make sure that you're legally safe.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's just reminded me that the fact that really the only way to achieve like the next step in life changing money really is some sort of entrepreneurial endeavor. So, kicking around that mindset again.
I have a Microsoft support ticket that reminds me of trying to get this thing, trying to get a production environment for beach delivery. It's just always paper cuts, man. Like, so they responded with some action items, and I got to attempt to see if it resolves my issues.
Hmm.
I got some, yeah, I think I told you I got some new business cards that
Yeah, I
that I
saw
made up.
Yeah, you
Okay.
told me that you bought them. I don't think I've seen them or anything. You got them?
Uh, 1 second. You like my T-shirt?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
cool.
so this is I'm not sure how well you can see it,
Oh
but
nice.
and then on the back of it, so
Cool.
it's a trickle. Like I'm still trying to like make progress. It's just I'm trying. Like,
Yeah, putting on the gym shoes. So
uh, oh, here's a topic that's technical, right?
hmm
Because I've been struggling to figure out how to manage it. You ever feel like, and I guess it depends on like organizations. Have you ever struggled? But then again, you don't really work at the capacity of like an architect or a designer. I don't think you do. But have you ever
I try
struggled?
to, but
Have you ever struggled taking business requirements that are, well, about what the business needs to deliver value and to continue staying in business, right, to satisfy
hmm
customers? Have you ever struggled to translate that into a system design with a whole bunch of other people involved? And people tend to think that when they hand you business requirements, they just arbitrarily assign people tasks to implement that business functionality and completely dismiss a system design that provides the capability for that business function that they want. Like, you ever feel translated? Have you ever been in an environment or a situation where the way that business requirements are handed down, there's a huge pressure to just assign teams to those business requirements and ignore like system architecture and prerequisites in order for those capabilities of the business to actually be like added to the system. Like there's layers, right? The final layer is business functionality, but there's layers below that that are more abstract, and I'm struggling to try to communicate that and trying to enforce a process that constrains stakeholders to break down what it means to deliver a feature, right? In order for this feature XYZ to be delivered and ready for teams to work on it, the following prerequisites um, have to be in place or must be met. Uh, this specific service needs to be available, which is managed by this specific team that has this owner and this architect, and this is the lead developer. Oh, by the way, we also need to have this other service in place, which is managed by this team, and these services need to be operable. In theory, I mean, you can provide an abstraction, but in order for things to be done, it has to be demoable, or you have to be able to demo it. And in theory, with some organizations, it has to be deployed, monitored, in production. And so there's just continuous, repeated like noise when trying to understand what it means to deliver that feature, and it's just a lot of time wasted. Have you ever ran into that where there's just a lot of communication issues back and forth They want to estimate, but in order to give an estimate, the developers are not implementing a a business requirement. They're implementing a vertical slice from the detailed business requirement that's working functionality to abstractions that enable that business requirement to be implemented to here's the architecture, here's the components of the architecture. Like you can't just throw a business requirement on it. You have to methodically figure out where the pieces fit in so that development is sustainable over time. And I think people just ignore like those other areas that require planning and orchestration. Sounds like you can't relate.
No, I'm trying to parse what the problem that you're getting at is. Because I mean, I've definitely been engaged in those kinds of problems before. I've been on the receiving end because um, probably like you, I do try to think of things at a systems level. I don't just take the requirements and go, well, I'll do my little piece of it and not think about anybody else. But
Yeah.
um, so so what you're saying um, is that you're getting initiatives or requirements from the business to do some sort of big project or whatever, and before you've had time to actually decompose what teams those should belong to, how things need to interact to realize a scenario, they're already trying to divvy it up to teams and say, you work on this thing, you work on this thing.
Yeah, they basically ignore that there's
How long is it going to take?
an existing system design. They ignore that and they just think that the teams can just willy nilly just add business functionality without taking into consideration the the foundation that that business functionality relies on. Like there's planning, there's blueprints that we need to adhere to, and they don't take that into consideration. So that's one. And the other one is just arbitrarily just selecting, assigning teams to business areas without understanding the consequences of the engineering um, challenges. Like, hey, you know C sharp, so go ahead and implement this security piece, or go ahead and implement, this business case, and just arbitrarily just thinking that you can apply a developer to implement some type of business functionality without any other context. And it's just, I guess maybe it's my fault because I'm doing a horrible job trying to even articulate the struggle that I'm going through. It's essentially ignoring the design of the current design of the system and just thinking that it's as easy as just adding business features.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just adding business features, but um, I mean, so do you get like this set of requirements and it crosses multiple
Yes.
so it crosses multiple capability or not well capability areas, but contexts, right? Um,
It it it
so here,
requires
let's.
other teams to have their areas in place, right? It has dependencies, and
Oh, sure.
the 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 way things are managed is a team add this business value. Okay, well they can't, right? They only work within this area of the system. There's other areas of the system that
Yeah.
are owned by
Okay.
other teams, and in order for this business value to be realized, it requires several teams to do their part based on
Yeah.
dependencies. And so when you aggregate all of those capabilities from each team together, then in theory you have a feature.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I've been struggling to articulate that. Like, no, they're not delivering this feature because this feature requires other teams to do their part in order for it to be delivered.
Yeah, they can deliver
And we're
their
not
content.
documenting that in when we're trying to estimate the effort. And I literally put together some formal documents that will help us call out what all these dependencies are, and we're not using these documents, and we keep having the same conversation that wastes time. You can tell I'm starting to get frustrated, right?
Yeah. No. No. I get what exactly what you're kind of saying then. So um, you're. I mean, you're right that. So if you have a feature that crosses team boundaries to complete or to realize, or a scenario that crosses many teams to realize, obviously every team has to do their own piece of that and be done before the entire thing can be delivered, um, so that you actually provide business value. The
Right. But take into
Yeah.
consideration that you only have one team that you're held accountable for providing technical guidance to. All
Mm,
the other teams, they're siloed in other parts of the organization, right? And
yeah.
so they're like, how long is this going to take? Hey, it should be straightforward. And I'm like, no, it's not. This is why I'm creating these documents so that it can force us to have a conversation about what it really means to deliver this feature. This feature is not assigning some developers get it done. This feature is a suite of capabilities that's a vertical slice, different areas of abstractions. When these capabilities are aggregated together, then in theory, now we're ready to deliver this feature. But without these capabilities from that other teams contribute, like we're just going to have impediments for one or more sprints. So if we're going to plan this, let's plan it and take into consideration that there's other factors involved. There's other dependencies, there's other prerequisites for this work to even begin.
So there's other horizontal dependencies, like, so this is the one thing I think about, like when you say vertical slice, it's like a
There's
team should be
infrastructure. Oh, okay, I'm
a
sorry.
team should be able to deliver a feature within a vertical slice. That means doesn't mean that they can deliver the entire scenario if there's other vertical slices or other like capability sets that need to contribute to that on like a horizontal plane. Like, we've done everything within this stack, but we have a dependency on this next stack next to us to do something else too. Unless you have teams broken up within the same vertical that to that need to
You have teams assigned to layers of a system,
yeah,
and
see, that's
and
what
and,
I
and
hate.
different, and you have teams assigned to different platforms.
Yeah, that's the situation I'm in now, and it drives me batshit crazy because that's actually the exact scenario that I'm in now. Is that
Yeah,
I've got a uh, we're designing out a whole new like experience for the user, and so I'm thinking about the entire system and going, okay, this is how we should construct this if we want to make this feature based on everything we've discussed. These are the ways that we'd want to construct this, and so I come out with this whole design. And then it's like, okay, well, how do we deal with the fact that another team owns this layer of what should, and so to me, it's like there's no reason that the my team shouldn't just own the entire vertical. Like, there are clear boundaries, horizontal boundaries that I can outline. Like, here's the data in, here's the data out, here's the data in, here's the data out, here's the on the three edges of this boundary. As soon as you have a team take a chunk of that layer and are beholden to a different product owner or a different set of, even totally different, you know, director level everything. Now there's like I'm at the point where I'm just like, look, our responsibility for this ends at the basically the BFF to the front end. So I don't know how to coordinate with that other team. They're on a totally different, like a totally different set uh, of um, of SLAs. They have a totally different set of priorities. They have a totally different product owner. I
Yeah.
can tell them that we need this capability, this capability, this capability. Am I supposed to manage like then the project and say, "Whoa, do you have this capability ready?" Am I supposed to design it for them? And how do I communicate that to that in the first place? It's like the only sane way to me is to say, don't take the layered approach and get rid of that because it
So,
doesn't make sense.
so would you agree that it probably makes sense to have a process to provide more transparency into what needs to be done?
Well, it makes sense to align your organization around communication structures. And
What's the likelihood of that?
yeah, that's well, that I know exactly. It's like people don't get it. It's like if I want to be able to deliver a feature within a like an actual vertical, I need control over the entire vertical. I don't need a control over a layer. I need the
Yep.
entire vertical. That's what I need,
I
and
think
that'll make me accelerate the fastest. Now, that doesn't mean I can't have dependencies on other teams, but I know that if I can get my work done up to that boundary, that I can always just toggle off or like put a stub at that boundary and hold. And I can say, we are done. You're dependent on that team now to finish up their bid. You get your project manager to go and talk to them. Um, but yeah, but that should be obvious though. If it's reliant on another team that's in a totally different context. Like if you're writing some sort of like, I don't know, let's say a billing thing, and it depends on something that you retrieve from like a customer, and the customer is set as a totally different context in another team. Like obviously they need to collect some data potentially that then you rely on, but you can always code your piece as if that data already exists, and then you know
mhm,
toggle it. So yeah, I know
contract.
exactly what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
it drives me nuts when people don't think about how like you really should align teams, or even like a set of teams, like a
You design a project. You design the development effort for a project. You design it.
yeah, okay, yeah,
You
there
don't
you
you
go.
don't big bang it. You literally design the development effort. The development effort is going to consist of the following phases. Within the following phases of this development effort, from start to finish, the first phase is going to be the architect, maybe not only designing but also building the foundation or the framework. Right. The second phase is going to be rolling on this one team, and this one team is going to tackle this specific piece. The third phase is going to be rolling on two additional teams, maybe, and this is what they're going to work on. Now, for each team, these are the planned activities of their piece. These planned activities are going to be mapped to, they're going to have their own activity ID, and they're also going to have dependencies likely on other activity IDs. And you literally plan out the development efforts as best as you can. Yes, it's borderline waterfall, right? You just don't design the software system. You design the development effort. It makes things, I feel like it gets you closer to understanding what's required, what the effort is going to be to deliver.
Yeah, yeah, but and that has to be done by somebody who's it's above the team, because it's like I can't design effort
Oh,
for other teams.
I mean, I
Yeah,
started doing
you do.
it,
Yeah.
but it, yeah.
Yeah, I can so I just don't serve as that in any capacity like that I'm in, but I understand the struggle because that's basically what I go through, and that drives me nuts. And I don't know, the combination of that, and then we got acquired, and I'm just like, and I know that like people are pointing to the upsides, but all I see is downsides about the acquisition. Like my options are no longer a lottery ticket. Like they don't have unlimited vacation, so if we're switching to their HR or whatever, I'm going to go back to accrued whatever, which I don't. I mean, I don't ever use that much, but I like it's like 401k. I don't want to think about it. Like just put it in the bank for me. I don't want to think about accruing up vacation and running up against some sort of thing. I'm gonna take vacation regardless of whether I have it or not if I want to. So why don't you just make it unlimited? And maybe you can have some sort of banked amount that I have at least minimum that you'll pay me out for, so you don't feel bad about it. I don't know, or a minimum requirement. Anyways, Um, and then just like I don't want to work for be just a line item on some big companies, you know, because so the eBay acquired the company that I work for. So it's like
Mm.
I'm a cog in eBay's machine now. Then so I
I didn't
don't.
know eBay was. I didn't
Well,
know
they
that
are
they were still
acquiring.
a factor. Like
Huh?
I thought like Amazon pretty much like
No, no,
dismissed them. No.
no. Amazon doesn't really deal in used. I mean, they do, but it's not like
Okay.
if you're gonna sell like something just obscure like a, or if you're in the collectible space or like there's eBay Automotive for instance, like if you're gonna buy a piece to a random vehicle that somebody has parted out, like you're not gonna go to Amazon for that. Uh,
Oh, point
you know,
taken. There's Facebook
yeah,
Marketplace. That's where I get rid
yeah,
of a lot of stuff.
yeah. And Facebook Marketplace is really good for, and it's similar to that, but that Facebook Marketplace really fulfills the local like aspect of
Yeah, you're
that.
right. You're
It's
right.
like it's basically like garage sailing. Um, it's like, hey, I've got to dump this thing. It's actually Facebook Marketplace is a better replacement for Craigslist than it is for than eBay. eBay's got its own little niche, but um, anyways,
Makes
like
sense.
I don't want to work for a big ass company like that. I just like there's no way, for instance, that I will ever probably interact with, let's say, the CEO in a meeting of eBay or even like the VP of the area that I'm over. Probably not. Like now we're gonna operate independently, but it's still like we're a part of that, and so it's like, well, I kind of wanted to be part of something smaller
I'm
that
strongly
grows.
con- I'm strongly considering when my contract ends. I'm strongly considering uh I'm sorry, my brain is cloudy right now. I'm trying to find the right word and I can't find it. Uh applying to an incubator
Yeah, there you go.
for the I tend to go like four between 4 and 8 months without a job. So I think I want to apply for an incubator whenever my current gig gets terminated.
Yeah, I don't know. I've started to look around. I have some old coworkers that have started at different companies where I might have some opportunities to go in back into a smaller thing. But I'm just like, do I want to get on the wheel again? And I don't know. It's just like it's just churn. At some point, I'm just like, I don't know. I need to figure out my own thing and just go down that path. But man, I don't know. Ugh.
So your beard grew back.
Yeah, yeah. I'll probably be shaving it in a few weeks here. I'm just gonna grow it out for the. I got a Boundary Waters trip next week, so I won't be on next week.
You're living the life.
Wouldn't say that. I mean, it's well, I mean the Boundary Waters trip's like a once a year kind of thing. So, but it's not getting up at 6 a.m. and going to the beach and looking out at the sunrise type life.
Yeah, that's every day.
Yeah, I saw your post this morning. I'm like, I wonder if Scott forgot because
Nah,
he's out on the beach again.
I did forget to. Oh, my memory is fading. Usually on Thursdays, I ride all the way to South Beach and back, which is about 8 miles round trip, and I completely forgot that that ritual, and I ended up running by accident a couple miles. So I don't know. I'm trying to get better at having rituals, but my memory, I feel like it's starting to like, I don't know. My memory is starting to like fail me
Hmm.
on things I'm supposed to do. Doesn't this look like Obama's you remember
Is it
his
kind of?
you remember his what do you call it? His logo? Like yes we can. Does that not remind you of Obama?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just noticed that.
So does that business card feel like a credit card or something, or is it just like a?
It's an expensive business card. I paid like $76 for like 250 of these.
Oh wow,
Uh, uh,
cool.
you have business cards.
No, not in this company. I've had them before, but I don't otherwise have a need for them. I don't exactly go to business meetings and here's my card.
Oh, I'll pass them out on the beach and at bars.
Hmm.
Uh, and when I meet, well, yeah, I just if there's an opportunity in which I cross paths, and I almost always let people know, like, what I'm working on when they ask me like what I do. I always try to make sure I have my business cards, even when I go running, even when I go bicycling. I always make sure I have them on deck. Because I mean, it worked out for me. I went to a restaurant that was like on the water maybe 2 weeks ago. I saw this older like Hispanic guy. He was doing something. Yeah, he had his laptop at the bar. And so immediately that triggers me. I'm like, oh, hey, you working on a Sunday? And then turns out he works for Google, specifically specializing in helping people get connected with incubators. Hence
Oh, cool.
me bringing up incubators. Um, and so I ended up chopping it up with him for like an hour. I sent him a YouTube link of my demo, and then he started blowing up my phone with all these helpful links for investors and stuff. And he was telling me how there's investors that are somewhat mandated by the state or the federal government to reserve a pool of money for minorities. I was like, really? I thought it was like private commercial. And it's like, no, like there's money for black and brown people. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I don't think that's right, but okay.
Well, it is what it is.
uh,
If you can take advantage of it, I would.
yeah,
But hmm.
I still gotta. I don't think I have it in me to build out the iOS piece. It, it may only take like a month. If I could just pay someone $5,000 to just do the iOS piece for me, I would. I don't want to do it. I hate wiring up my MacBook just so I could compile like a Xamarin app.
Yeah, just buy a Mac Mini and throw it in the corner. And
I got a MacBook.
oh,
It collects
there you
dust.
go.
I literally only use it to compile Xamarin apps. Like
There's got to be a server out there that you can just hook into that
they do.
rather than having that. Yeah.
There's solutions out there. Maybe they're easier to work with today than they were 3 years ago. I think it's selfish. I mean, it's smart. It's just selfish, though. You're gonna force me to buy a $1,500 or $2,000 computer just so that I could deploy my app.
Well, no, I mean Mac Minis are a lot less than that, I believe, which is all you need, right?
Yeah, well, it's too late. I got a MacBook that
What
just
does a
sits on
Mac
the
Mini
shelf.
go for nowadays?
We still got to have a monitor, right?
I don't think so.
I think so. And there's a whole bunch of ceremony to get all that stuff like
$700 still.
ready for a workflow. I thought a Mac Mini. Hold up, well, we're talking about two different things. Mac has a computing box without a monitor, without a screen. Is
Yeah, the
that the
Mac
Mac Mini?
Mac Mini. Yeah,
Yeah. So you said $700 now?
yeah, it's starting at $700. Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
that's for the latest version. I don't know if they have smaller ones. I mean, okay, so there's Mac Mini, there's Mac Studio, Mac Pro. Those are all your non like built-in monitor options. Mac Studio. Oh, That's interesting. But you don't need a monitor. Like you can hook these right up into like a standard monitor. You don't need an Apple monitor for it to work. They just have HDMI out. You can hook them into a TV. Holy crap. That's kind of cool. So they structured their they have their like Apple's website. So when you begin, you start at the top, and like when you begin to scroll down on the Mac Studio, the page rotates the as you're scrolling down, the page rotates the thing around, and then it zooms in on it, and then it like zooms through it, and it brings you into this like whole like you're swimming Coca-Cola in the metaverse or something with like marketing materials.
That's cool.
And then it goes, then it finally gets to what you're looking for, which are the specs. And Jesus, their
But
advertising
you're
pages
on
for these are nuts.
you're on Apple.com. Where
Yeah,
you at?
yeah. Go to apple.com/Mac dash studio slash, or I guess I
Let's
could
see.
share too, but
No, I'm going there. So you said scroll down and there's some interesting user experience.
so if you're on the Mac Studio page, scroll down, you'll see it says Mac Studio Empowered Station, and then you scroll down, it'll rotate the thing, and then it'll start zooming in on it, and then you get this like, I don't know, you get this trippy like. Do
Oh
you
yeah,
get
I
that?
see it.
Yeah.
Well, I see. It looks like popcorn thrown inside of a milkshake, and then
I see like a robot hand trying to like swim in Coca-Cola, and then
no,
I don't know.
I think we're looking at different things.
Here,
I'm
I'll
at apple.com Mac dash studio forward slash right.
yeah.
Uh,
Here, I'll share my screen and see if you see the same thing. It's like, okay.
where's Gamlore?
I know, right? So this is the page you're on, right?
Uh huh.
And like you scroll down, it rotates, and then you're like,
Oh no, yeah, I see that part. I didn't see the part that led up to it.
oh, I see. Yeah, the popcorn and the milkshake. I guess I could see that. Like that looks like a chunk of popcorn flying through some whatever. It's like, okay, okay, I'm trying to get to the trying to get to the material so I can read. And it's like then it keeps doing this like,
No, I'm thinking about getting another motorcycle. I've been binge watching Kawasaki's ZH2. It's like I don't know. It has a supercharger on it, and it makes a really cool sound.
already
So
tired of your Ducati.
no, I like my Ducati. It's just like people have a staple of like, is it staple or stable? Stable, right? BLE of horses, like thoroughbred.
Staple with a
Yeah,
B,
so
yeah.
like people have a stable of horses, or pimps have a stable of women. Like I want to build up a stable of motorcycles. Like I want to be a collector. I just need to pay my taxes for. I have no clue what my taxes are going to be. I wish I could just give the IRS money right now so that I'm not like surprised and crying when I actually do my taxes. Like I just want to just send them like probably send them like 25 or $30,000 right now, just so that because it's like things can happen, man. You could get sick, have hospital bills, lose your job, get sued, then you're really screwed. I
Well,
just
you don't you pay quarterly taxes though?
no.
Oh, you don't? Oh, I thought you had to pay quarterly taxes.
No, I pay at the end.
Oh, yeah, I thought that you had that they required you to pay quarterly, but I don't know why they would because it's like you're not owed until you're owed, but that's why it's called a tax return.
Well, I mean, I'm corp to corp. I pay them, right?
Hmm.
I'll write them checks. I'm still holding on to my crypto and all my investments because I don't want to realize that loss, which I usually liquidate to pay my taxes. But I'm like, ah, no, if I liquidate, then I really
Go
realize
to the
that
moon
loss.
still.
Uh,
Just wait.
I bought Cardano at its absolute peak, and I lost like 80% of it.
Ugh, crypto.
You,
Yeah, I didn't
you
lose
stayed
much
away
on.
from it,
No, I mean I bought into some, but not enough to
cry
not
over.
enough to yeah, not enough to cry over. I bought into Novavax, and that one I didn't buy too much. Again, not enough to cry over, where I'd be realizing any meaningful loss or anything like that. But it was nice because it was going up, and it was like, yeah, and then it's like, nope, it dropped. It's like halved its value, so it's like shit.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't.
I got wiped out, and I don't want to realize it. I got wiped out. I'm talking about like I was investing heavily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I feel like whenever I do get in the market, I get in the market when like things are like everybody's making money, and I just observe from the sideline, and I'm like, all right, they still making money, and then another like month goes by, man, they're still making. You know what? I'm getting in now, and then tank. Like I feel like the universe waits for me to finally invest, and then it's like, all right, we got Scott Nimrod, flip it, and then everybody realizes profits, and I lose.
Yeah,
So
it's a simulation messing with you.
I guess so. Do you know anything about metaverse?
Metaverse. My understanding is it's basically like Facebook's creating Second Life, but in the cloud or in like VR, whatever. No, I don't know much about it. I know that it's a Facebook thing.
They haven't released it yet.
I don't know.
I,
I
I
think one of my old
saw
coworkers might work on it,
I
but
saw Miami Gardens like ad saying that they're the first smart city on metaverse, and it was. I mean, the ad was well done, which piqued my interest. Like, all right, so is this finally out now? And what do people do with it? They just sit on the couch and like
it's
walk around
amazing.
virtual facilities and bump into. Is it like a Grand Theft Auto where you just walk around and punch people and carjack like cars? And I think I would do metaverse as if it's like Grand Theft Auto video game.
Yeah,
Just punch people in their face, and then
yeah. I don't know.
Do the Halo squat. You know what the Halo squat is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
teabagging.
yeah.
Yeah.
Someone did that to me on Call of Duty a couple weeks ago. I laughed because it haven't happened to me in like a really long time. I didn't know people still did that. I'm gonna start doing it on Metaverse.
I think someone got like
Hey,
virtually
gambler.
groped in the metaverse, and so then there's this whole like I don't know, just that's a whole new like type of law legal stuff
How
with,
you get virtually roped?
well, like if you have two metaverse beings and you go like that to one of them or like that, that's groping. I mean, it's just virtual, so you experience it, but it doesn't actually have. I don't.
You don't experience it.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
you, yeah. Oh, gambler, you're not ruining the viewer stats. I only have like one viewer. Interesting. I think I got like maybe 300 subscribers. You're the only person that's. I don't know what motivates you to like watch my streams. It's I don't think we talk about anything like I don't. We don't. I mean, like we talk about things that yeah. I mean, I talk about things that are interesting to me, but I don't think it's interesting to anybody else. Do you watch it because we just have like Sean and I have very different personalities, and you're just interested in like observing how we interact? Like, what's your motivation for like being consistent?
Little do we know that Gambler like puts this on the screen at work so that everybody in Switzerland can laugh. Like it's like, oh, look at these Americans. Ah,
What did you
just
send
kidding.
me? Hold up.
I was gonna say, well, isn't that sick?
I'm still trying to look at it. I don't believe it.
Well, I believe it.
You're telling me that that person is computer generated?
Kurt Skeleton? Yeah,
I don't believe it.
she shows it how she did it.
Nah, she must be Russian or something. It's fake.
No, but I don't know why she had to like totally rag on the guy and say, "Oh, I made him so ugly." He's not an ugly looking dude. I don't
Well,
understand.
his jaw is lopsided. It's not symmetrical.
Well, it's not like he's not hideous. I mean, like he just looks like a normal dude. I
Uh,
made him look so ugly. It's
you
like he's not.
forget, you forget that's a modern woman. So
Yeah.
their expectations are like
Of course they want to make
very
a
very different from like the previous generations. Like
great.
now, Tom Cruise in his 20s, based on today's expectations, he would be like a measurable 6 out of 10.
Yeah, it's funny when you said Tom Cruise in his 20s, six went through my head right before you said that.
He would be a
I'm like, yeah,
measurable
yeah,
six.
you know what? Yeah, yeah, right, because his teeth were all messed up. But of course, they got to make the ginger white guy as the she's got to make that as the
Oh, it
epitome
would be all hell
of
if she.
ugliness.
Do you know how much hell she would get if she created a black dude and said
It
that?
said, "Oh, I got to make an ugly guy black." Yes. Oh man, she should put.
Gambler
I don't
says,
know.
I don't know. Listening to other jaded developers is relaxing. I guess.
Yeah, you missed our earlier conversation then, probably. That was our jaded developer conversation part.
It's recorded.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm either I'm streaming or maybe I don't know if am I streaming to Twitter because I added the option. I don't know if it's doing it or not. I doubt it.
It
Or else
it
I.
it did. I saw it come through. It did post that you're on there. It's not
Oh,
streaming
okay.
on
I see
Twitter. I
it.
don't think. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It says 49 minutes ago, and it says 0 viewers. Okay.
Whew. Oh man. But yeah, I mean that's like that AI. I mean the AI stuff. It's gonna like you could make anything up now. It's between deepfake and
You know what? I could just totally see that being used for video conference for job interviews. and
yeah.
people in India Like they create like a blonde hair, blue eyed like male, and then they just do the interviews for American companies.
Yeah, and actually, I mean that's a good point. I wonder how long it'll be before companies refuse to where that starts to happen, and then companies refuse to interview you except for in person
Yeah,
because
but
they
I
can't.
mean, it, okay.
Or maybe, hey, maybe there's some sort of maybe there's some sort of like uh business to be had for like authenticating people in terms of their like for video conference purposes. I don't know.
I would I would basically take a celebrity and then I would go on Tinder with it and I would get them to send me videos. That's what I would do. All right. So I think it's scary technology. I honestly don't think we need it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not scary. It's cool.
it is scary. You're basically you're you're using another face and body to hide your identity. You it's kind of
People have
like
been doing that for
plagiarism.
years, man. It's
It's
called
plagiarism.
like
It's called makeup.
avatars. It's
Makeup.
called avatars.
It's called makeup and a weave
Yeah,
and leave
people have
press
been
on
doing that
nails.
forever. Doesn't change anything about your ability to go down to the grocery store and buy a lobster and then come home, cook it, and eat it. I mean, it's like that's a weird example, but
Yeah, I'm like, what?
like it doesn't really have like if you think about it, it really doesn't have that much impact unless people start believing things that they shouldn't believe. But
You're it is going to have an impact. Think about think about all the grandmothers that are using the laptops.
oh yeah, scamming.
Elderly
Yeah,
people. Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna
And you,
download a picture of their son,
you have
three
this
or
blonde
four off
hair,
of
blue
Facebook.
eyed tech support agent that's helping someone fix their computer by having them navigate to Bank of America, and then download this share app, desktop share app, and they're just walking grandma through, right? Because you know grandma, I don't know, he reminds grandma of her grandson or something. I don't know. I just think it's going to have more. I think it's bad, and the government should block it.
No, I don't think it's. I don't think the government should block it.
Look, I mean, look at what she did. It's I don't know. It, she literally all right. It's a person of color that literally went out her way to create a white person and then went on video. Like I don't know. I think it's just going to be misused.
She culturally appropriated white gingers, so no, dude. I don't. I don't. I don't know. It's an interesting thought experiment though, because like you
Just because
can
you
just
can don't
totally
mean you
create.
shouldn't. Like I don't know. I disagree with it. I don't. I don't think it has any beneficial. I don't think it helps anybody. This technology, especially when it's applied to something like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
It could. I
like,
mean, it would be kind of cool that you could make an entire movie yourself with multiple characters that don't actually exist, right? Which you could do with cartoons, obviously, but
yeah, I was gonna say that Shrek.
this is just a really high fidelity cartoon. It's a super high fidelity
I
cartoon.
mean, can you imagine that technology being applied to metaverse?
Yeah.
That would be mad addictive because everybody would be like extremely good looking.
Yeah. What was there? There's a movie like was it called Gamer?
It would basically be Miami. What's that?
Except for that was like real. Um, was it Gamer the movie? No, Game. Yeah, with Gerard Butler.
I don't know who that is.
I want to say that that was kind of like they had something like that envisioned in that movie. Oh, that was 2009. So there's
Well,
this
you had
movie,
Black Mirror
2009
Striking
movie.
Vipers that had the video game. People that would be connected in like VR playing a video game, and then they just started sleeping with each other, and it was like it was like a Street Fighter game, and then they decided that they didn't want to do Street Fighter in the game. They just wanted to sleep with each other in the VR, like two guys. Like one would dress up as one would have a character of a woman, the other one would have a character of a guy, and then like they just started sleeping with each other, and the game was used for that instead of like street fighting.
Hmm.
You never saw that episode of Black Mirror, Striking Vipers?
No, no, I don't even know that show at all.
Yeah, you should Google it.
Yeah, I sent you the link to the IMDb for it. But so in that movie, the movie's premise uh, is that criminals basically they have a chance to. I don't know if they have a chance or if they're forced into it, but basically like people can like LoJack you or whatever. So like people will sign up to be in the game. They have these whole like VR setups or whatever, and then they hook that into real people that control the people, and then you go around and shoot people or whatever, and it's all convicts and stuff like that. But there's an element in that where there's also like a virtual reality type thing where everyone's looks real and
And
goes around and does shit. But
that
I don't know
reminds
what
me of the movie Painfully Blunt.
what
You
going to
know,
IMDb.
Jonathan the Impaler Sharkey.
Yeah, that was 2009 too as well. I mean,
It was around there.
yeah, came out the same year. It's basically the same movie. Where's your credit here? Oh,
Oh
there it is.
God.
Scott written down. Dr. Walker. You got to get your IMDb profile picture in there, man. How
No,
you gonna get other movie roles?
I'm not. I'm not. That's yeah. That was the
Jennifer.
worst acting ever. Everything was pretty much. I mean, there was no script. Everything was what do you call it? Uh,
Improv.
improv. Everything was improv.
That's cool. That's I'm pretty sure that's basically how one of my favorite shows, Curb Your Enthusiasm, is. They sketch out the show and then they just improv everything. It's always hilarious though.
Yeah.
Oh God.
What are your plans for? I don't know. What are your plans for this quarter?
This quarter. I don't know.
I
Figure
don't
out
even know.
whether
I
I'm.
don't even know when the quarter ends. What, January? I guess, right?
Yeah, I suppose. So it's Q1 is January, February, March. And then Q2 is April, May, June. Q3 is July, August, September. So we're still in that Q, right? Then we've got December, October, November. No, October, November, December. The Q4. So we're midway through Q3 right now, right?
I guess so.
But I guess my between now and the end of the year, I got to figure out if I'm going to stay with my current gig or not. I suppose.
I thought you were gonna say wife.
No, shit. That's a whole other story for a whole other day, man. Whole different topic. But yeah, I don't know. It's just the acquisition and stuff. I mean, it's not going to go through until probably Q1 next year. It could obviously could go through sooner, but since it's a public company and everything, the SEC stuff and all that crap, there's a lot more time to close things like that. But I don't know. I got to figure out whether I'm going to do that or if I can find something else to sink into.
I'm
Oh
trying.
man.
I'm trying to get this Android app in production. Hopefully, Microsoft will solve all these issues that I'm running into in regards to creating a prod environment using an ARM template in Azure, or cloning an ARM template, exporting an ARM template in Azure, and I would like to start getting one or two transactions a week. I would like to have that completed by January. Yeah, so we'll see.
I suppose it's time.
All right, it's been
I
real.
like I said, I won't be around next week because I'll be this time next week I'll be probably waking up in the middle of probably somewhere's around Curtin Falls in the Boundary Waters.
Is this all Minnesota still?
Well, it's the boundary of Minnesota, Canada, but yeah, it's all Minnesota. So you wouldn't be able to find Curtin. I don't know if you could find Curtin Falls if you looked for it, but there's a big lake called Crooked Lake, and then there's Lac LaCroix, and I don't know. I assume Iron Lake is part of Lac LaCroix, but there's a huge watershed.
Do you own a canoe or you just rent it every time
You
you
rent
go
it.
out? Okay.
You
Is
could
it
come
called
up and
is it
do it,
called a
but
canoe or what is it called?
canoe, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could bring kayaks up there. You should come up and do it some year. Come
You
up.
should do it. You should come down here and do it in the Everglades.
No, man, there's gators and stuff. The only thing we have to deal with is mosquitoes and maybe a bear, but bears are pretty
Sturgeons.
skittish.
Sturgeons.
Nah, I don't think those would eat a human.
Okay.
I mean, they're big, but they're not human eating big. I don't think
Uh,
so, anyways. I don't know that they have a lot of sturgeons.
I, I
Uh,
I thought sturgeon was like a North American fish.
yeah, I don't really. I think muskies are kind of sturgeons. Sturgeons actually like. I mean, they're big, but they're not. I don't think they have teeth like sharks do.
Okay.
Like, I mean, there's huge catfish too, but
Got it.
huh?
Well, enjoy your getaway.
Yeah,
I've actually been thinking about. I've been thinking about going to the DR. I got to go somewhere, man. I got a lot of things going on with me.
yeah. You got to get your Q4 planning session in
Yeah.
now, so that you're ready before Q4 happens, right? So,
All right, Sean. Well, it's
yep.
been real. Thanks. And Gambler, take care. See ya. Bye.
See ya.